Hello everybody and welcome, and today I am out in the area of my garden called Joachim's Corner where I have my Hosta collection, and I have this one pot in front of me here that I bought as a green Hosta with beautiful leaves with lovely veining that goes all the way down deep into the middle of the leaf. And in this same pot I have two different varieties going on now because half of the plants have grown out with variegation around the edge of the leaf and half are plain green. So what I want to do is split this plant into two so that all the variegated parts I'm going to be putting into a whole new pot that I have down next to me here. And then instead of this one pot, I'll have two pots with two different varieties going on, and nothing can make me more happy than that, because the more different types of hostas I can get, the happier I am, because they are one of my absolutely favorite plants. So I want to bring this in closer so you can see what I'm talking about before I start splitting this plant into two separate pots. So look at this beautiful bunch in front of me here, and as you can see on my left side you can see green plant, and on my right side you can see the variegated plant. You can see the leaves are exactly the same type, so this is a plant that has produced an offshoot with variegation. And this happens, and this is why there are so many different varieties of hostas out there, because they naturally produce different varieties and different variegations and tones of color and shapes, and then you have a whole new hosta. And here, because I have two, I want to have them in two separate pots because I have a collection corner, so every pot has one type of hosta in it. So this is going to be an easy job because hostas are very easy to split, and you can do this any time of the year. They will be absolutely fine. So let me get on now with splitting these two into two separate pots, and then we'll see the end result. So the first thing I need to do is I need to remove the bark from the top so I can save that and place it back on top. So I have another extra pot here for my bark. So let's take the bark first. Save that. I always put bark around the top of my hostas. It keeps them moist and insulated, especially during the cold winter when they stay outside in these plastic pots with no extra protection whatsoever apart from this. So the bark is very good for that, and also they enjoy the nutrients they get from it. So I'm wondering if I need to get the whole root ball up and split it, or if I'm going to be able to take the one side out. I don't think so. I need to see how far we're going with plants with variegation. So that one doesn't have, and these ones, so it's just these ones here. This is quite amazing, you know. Right, so these ones I need to get out. Now I'm going to have to tip this pot over and try and save the soil, and then get in with my little saw and saw them apart. So luckily I have more of these plastic pots. So I'm going to tip this plant forward towards the camera and put this plastic pot on the ground to see if I can save soil, because there's no need to waste any soil. And just like that, yep, it's falling into the pot, so that's good. And then I can see how far I need to go in, trying to get out this hosta. Let's have a little look. So the root ball is just around there. Yeah, this is going quite well. This is going quite well actually. So now I can see my root ball. I should be able to put this pot back up now and see if I can't just pull out the roots. Let's have a look. Need to get around my beautiful red Japanese maple next to me here. Isn't that gorgeous? Right. Okay. Yes, I've got the root ball. So I'm going to lift this out completely now so we can see how we can chop it up. So all the excess soil, I just want to try and save as much as possible because there's no need to waste all this soil. It's absolutely fine. So, and also, if we get as much as possible of the soil away, we can see we've got what we've got to work with. So now, I've got my plants out, and, well actually, this plant just broke away. So maybe it was planted in with the other plant by mistake, and I was lucky and got two absolutely different plants. But while I'm at it now, I'm going to split up each one. So I'll lay this one, the variegated one, over to the side. And I will split up the mother plant now to be able to replant it back in its pot and get myself more rosettes growing and filling out the pot. And it looks like it'll be pretty easy. I have clear spaces, so I just go in and I saw right through the roots. And this does not harm hostas. I am telling you, they will be absolutely fine. And I have all these young plants. If they stay connected to the mother plant, they will grow in a little bunch like this, but it will take a longer time for them to grow out rosettes of their own and fill out the pot more. So I want to split these up so they become independent of their mother plant. So here I have the biggest one that I call the mother plant. That's there. And then I have three more here. So I might as well do this while I'm at it, because then I won't have to do this again for a very long time. And each one gets lots of roots, so there's no problem with that. So they'll be able to carry on perfectly fine. Another one here. If we get roots on both of these, then I'm happy. Have a look. So, yes, I got roots on that, just small, but that will still carry on. And this one has lots of roots, very big roots, and that one's fine too. So we'll lay that there. That is 4 plants so far. And then this mother plant has 2 pups growing off it. We're going to split those off her. And there we go. So I have a little baby one and this one. And I just want to show you that it doesn't always work out the way you want. You might lose 1 or 2. So this one here, I've lost, and I'll show you why. Beautiful leaf, beautiful little leaf coming out, and an extra one there, but the end broke, so there are no roots on this, and this will not produce roots on its own accord. So this is gone. But I can keep this in a vase with water and enjoy this leaf for as long as it stays healthy in a vase. And so I will still get to enjoy it. And who knows, maybe it will do something crazy and start growing out roots, but I doubt it. So just remember, when you're doing this, you do need to have a root ball, and then you'll be able to save that plant and it will carry on fine. And I always leave all the roots that are left, all of this. Well, if there's anything that will slough off, like a little bit there, take that off, but all the other roots, leave them on there. Give the plant as many roots as possible to keep it going and thriving. So this is a goner, and this plant here is perfect. Look at that. So now I need to get all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants rearranged back in their pot. And then I can start with my variegated plant. So the variegated plant, move it there, put these to the side here so that I can get my pot up, and then I can replant them. There we go. Don't need the knife anymore. And don't need all these excess roots, but the soil, I can keep that in my pot. Tidy up here a little bit. Now I am ready to repot. That one can go there. Oh, so now we want to put the biggest one in the middle this time. So that one's in, and then basically start filling up with all the other ones. This is another big one here. Put that one there. Lovely. And I need to get some more of my soil that I collected because I won't have enough to carry on with all this. So, my soil back around. While I'm going, fill up the soil again to keep them stable. So that's 2. Next one. That's 3. Keep going around. Next one. There's 4. More soil. Around. Next side. 5. In with that one. A bit more soil around it at the same time. And then the last little one that I have space for here, which has huge roots, so it will be able to grow out into a big, beautiful plant as well with time. No problem there. Soil. So there we go. There's the soil. So now I just need to get myself a little bit more soil to fill out this pot before I start putting the bark back on top around my plants. Just like this. More soil, please. Fill right up and support the plants as much as possible. Now they're getting a little bit fresh soil with new nutrients as well, so they'll be extra happy, these hostas in this pot. But as I said, these will do absolutely fine. They won't hardly pout at all after having had this major operation. But these ones do have an extra thin leaf, I've noticed. So maybe this particular variety could hang a little bit loose for a day or 2, and then it will be absolutely fine again, I know. But one thing I've noticed with it is, because it's got thin leaves, it actually has some aphids on it. And I've never seen that on my hostas, I've just never noticed it before. But this one seems to have a few aphids on it, on the young leaves. But as long as they grow out and stiffen up as quickly as possible under the season, they'll be okay. And as long as it's only a few, no problem. But this is basically just go in and spray them over with water, or if you have any other kind of spray that's non-harmful to the nature and the environment, then you can spray them with that as well and get rid of those. But it's not much of a problem, it's just a little tiny bit I can see on here. So these plants are all planted up. Now I need to get the bark around them, and then I will be done with this pot. So I've got my bark. I just added some extra fresh bark as well. Just mix that around with the bark that was already around my plants. There we go. And then fill up completely around them with bark. And I always give them a really thick layer. They seem to really enjoy the bark. They do like to stay moist, and they can cope with drying out for a period, because mine have. They've been here for weeks without me being here, and they've dried out, and they've still managed to produce this amount of beautiful leaves. So they cope with that if they've got a layer of bark on to give protection still, and to keep some moisture underneath. So there. Now I've ensured myself that there are more separate plants in here that are going to fill out this pot amazingly in no time. So now I essentially have my one plant all back together, and it looks like nothing happened with it. This plant is going to carry on fine. If I tip it forward, you can see how beautiful it is. And now I'm ready to go and put my variegated plants in another pot next to me here. So we'll put this one down on the ground for a minute. So again, I need to get my plant and split it up into separate plants before I start planting it in its pot to get me a fuller pot next year. And there are lots of small pups growing on the mother plants of these. They're very small, but all these mother plants are connected, and I don't want that at all. So I'm going to force them apart. Time to grow up and fly the nest, as it were. And I'll leave the little tiny ones connected to these. So this time I have 3 plants, and I'm going to bring them in closer so you can see what I mean, because those are too small to separate, I think. So if we look at this one first, for example, look down at the bottom, there are 3 pups or 3 new rosettes growing out connected to the mother plant. There's no point me going in and separating them, they're too small. So this will carry on growing as one plant. And then here you can see the beautiful variegation on the edge of the leaf. Absolutely lovely plant. So this was a perfect success. The next one here, a mother plant with 2 pups growing out, or 2 rosettes. There you go. Once again, and then the variegated leaves. So this is a lovely bundle. And then this one with lovely big leaves, look at those. And this is one with 1 rosette growing out and a second one on the way up, I can see. So they're really doing fantastic. There's the roots. Fantastic plant. Let's get them in their pot now. This is so much fun. Oh, I love this. I love this. Right. So I have my pot and I've already mixed my soil. It's a mixture of a gardening mix together with a little bit of fine sand. And I've also put lots of lecker balls in here, mixed the whole lot together to keep it a loose, airy soil. I also put some bark in here, in the soil, and it will have a layer of bark on top. So now it's time to plant my plants. Now, I have 3, so I need to put 3 points. This one here, this big lovely one, we will put right in here. As you can see, I've left as many of the big roots on the plant as possible so that it can carry on as though nothing ever happened to it. And that's absolutely perfect. Next one, right here. Excavate out a hole that goes deep into the soil and let the roots sink as far down in as possible. There we go, I have another one with its pup growing to the side, and then close the soil around gently so that we don't damage those very small pups or rosettes that are growing up on these plants here. So that's the second one. One more to go. And this last one has a very big root ball. So move a lot of the soil around to be able to get that in there. I might need to move one plant actually, it feels like. So this one, with all its lovely pups, again, roots deep down into the pot. Turn the leaf round, puts the biggest to the side just to give more space. And plant it in. And move the soil around into place. I feel like I need to move this one I've just planted here to the side a little bit more. So I need to carefully bring it up again and redo it. I think I need to put it a little bit more over here. Make a gap, put it in, yeah, that's better. Feels more level. There we go. So now I have 3 beautiful plants, all producing lots of rosettes, And this pot is going to fill out very quickly because of that. I think I need a little bit more soil, and I have some in this other pot, so that was perfect. Before I start putting the bark on, because remember that the soil does sink when you're using soil in pots like this. It degrades, gets used up and sinks, so you need to put enough soil. So there we go. Now I am ready to cover this all with some of this soil with bark. Another good thing with bark, of course, is that it stops any weeds growing up around your plants, because you don't want the pots being overrun with all sorts of other plants growing in there. These are my beautiful collection specimens, so I only want these plants in there. We need to make sure that the pups that are coming up are able to come up through all of this, which they are. I know that because they do it every year. So here we go. You can already see that my one pot has become two, and I have two different varieties of hosta going on now. I just think this is absolutely amazing. I just want to bring this one in to give you a closer look of how they're looking in this arrangement. You would think that these pots had been like this the whole time, and this pot here, it might look sparse now, but you saw how many small rosettes were on the way up. So this is going to fill out in no time, and it will even do that this season because those rosettes are young and they're on their way up still. So let's have a little closer look at this before I'm finished with my hosta makeover for today. So look at this, isn't it amazing? Absolutely fantastic from all sides. Beautiful plant, and the pot looks gorgeous, and it's going to fill out amazing. And I am so happy because now I have another hosta pot to add to my collection that is growing enormous now. So if you have any hostas that are growing out a different variety in the same pot or showing a different variegation, then you can split it and make yourself another plant and give it space to grow out, and you'll be amazed. When you have more and more hostas, you will get offshoots now and again, and you will get something new, and it's so exciting. And now I just love that I have these two with the same kind of leaves, with a different coloration going on, and I can enjoy them for years to come. Just remember, keep your hostas moist and keep them protected in a shady, semi-shady to shady position for most hostas. Some can take direct sunlight, but most like it to be, like I have mine, in a northern exposure where they get dappled light that comes around here in the morning from the east and in the evening from the west. Otherwise they're in the shade during the middle of the day when it's the hottest point, and they really, really enjoy that. The ones that I had too close to the edge here, actually earlier before I moved my pots in, got burning marks on the leaves, so I know they enjoy being in the shade more, my plants here. So that's all I have for you for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.